probably just stay off the Facebook comments because people were mean last time. Eric said last Friday, one of the first comments was like, Eric looks musty as hell.
All right, I'll wait for a little bit because sometimes what we say now will pick up. For some reason, the delay picks it up.
Okay.
All right. All right, here we go. Going live. All right, good evening, everybody. I'm Meteorologist Brad Travis here with Meteorologist Chelsea Aaron. We're going to talk about what's going on out west. Overall, the line of storms has not fully formed yet, and we think that's going to happen at some point in time late tonight over Mississippi, or it may not fully form until it gets here into the state of Alabama. But we've got a tornado watch till 1 o'clock for northwest Alabama, and this is a PDS watch, which means particularly dangerous situation. So far, we've only had this one supercell that moved through on the north side of Tunica, produced a tornado. It was very close to the casinos over there earlier tonight, and it kind of split, had one circulation take over on the other side of it. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and go through this. We'll talk about the latest data and stuff like that. We're just going to leave this window open at the bottom here the whole time. So,
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, and that's in the, I already showed you where that was. Oh, clicker. So here's that storm, but you're kind of looking at it from a different perspective, looking at this from GWX, since we don't have the Memphis NexRad in this particular software, but we have it in the other one. What we're looking for is new development in this area here, or even over here, because this storm is going to track north of the shoals. So what we're looking for is anything to kind of develop within this path, at least over the next, oh, can you hand me that other clicker there?
Yeah.
Over the next hour to 2 hours. So we're going to go over the latest model guidance here in just a second too. Let's see some of your questions. Watching from Elkmont, from the shoals. Somebody's scared we weren't going to go live. Yeah, so here's another view of that storm. This one here. So this one has a history of producing a tornado. It's producing probably golf ball size hail now. I'll go ahead and storm track this out. I know we probably have some viewers up in the southern middle Tennessee watching as well. But overall, I'll put this at 50 miles an hour. Whoops. Yeah, I switched radar sides. So put that track there. This is most likely going to end up, in fact, over time that could actually threaten the Nashville area if it starts moving more northeast, and that's kind of the trend here that I've seen a little bit of. So let me switch this here. Get that out of the way. So that is where this storm is most likely going to end up. A little bit of development behind that, but not much going on with it. Boy, you can just tell how fast the winds are in the mid-levels as this area near Hernando, south of Memphis. So Memphis has really dodged a bullet today because they had a huge supercell north of them. And let me actually take this back to the last 4 hours. You kind of see how things have evolved. Let me zoom out here. I'll get to some of your questions here in just a second. But again, nothing really imminently threatening us right now. I don't see anything. I don't see anything pressing as of right now. But I kind of want to go back. Oh, I haven't saved it as long. I only saved this for like 3 hours. So, but here's what's left of that Jackson storm in Tennessee. It's kind of fallen apart, it looks like, as it continued northeast. The only tornado warning we have is for this storm here. So let's take a look at this as it was over Tunica. And you're going to see some pretty wild stuff here from the radar. It's actually, you have the main circulation moving through Tunica, and then a secondary circulation develops on the back side right there. So it's almost like we had two circulations here at one time. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, the two different tails, we were looking at that.
Yeah.
Not common.
No, not common at all. And that's what happens with these really big supercells. They cycle through. So a lot of times, you know, it's not just one tornado that's on the ground the whole time.
Right.
And that's kind of what we're seeing, we saw with this one. Looks like we're going to get missed. No, nobody's getting missed yet. We'll go over the model data in just a second. So that's kind of what's left of this area now.
Looks like that tornado warning just north of Holly Springs trying to wrap up again. It's trying to get another little tail.
So the next thing we'll watch, again, we're watching for any new development on it. The interesting thing here is that this is the high-risk area. And there's only been one storm track across the northern part of the high-risk area. So as soon as this trough comes in, I think we're just going to see a big blow-up of thunderstorms. So we don't know when that's going to happen yet. So Mother Nature's keeping us waiting. So as we get in here, again, more storms up here to the northwest of Memphis. But here's our timing. And in DeKalb County, I mean, it's going to be at least 1 o'clock in the morning before this moves in. I don't think our threat's gone down. It hasn't gone up.
Right now, it's essentially just a waiting game.
Right, we're doing nowcasting. So 9 to 1, and the reason this time's a little bit longer is because of the supercell threat, and that's going to be in this red area over here. But, you know, we can see these embedded supercells.
Right.
And one thing that we'll talk about that 850 millibar jet. This is the graph model. I think it's been the best with timing because the HRRR model's been way too fast.
Agreed.
And the Barron model's been a little fast. We'll talk about the Barron model. We got time here because I mean there's nothing pressing right now.
And was it the graph that handled last week's
threat
so well?
Perfect last week.
Spot on.
Yeah.
That's what I thought of.
But we're still waiting for that line to form, and it really hasn't formed yet. So as we go through time here, I've had a few people ask me, because I think this is the same data that's in our model. I'm going to change that to blue so you can see it. It's moving this supercell, it develops it, and then as it tracks northeast, it pretty much just kills it. And it's possible there's a cap, there's a lid on the atmosphere that is going to keep that from forming. We don't know yet. So again, uncertainty, conditional. But notice how late it is. This is like after midnight before the line even starts to impact the shoals. So
the instability just blows up.
Yeah, the instability ahead of it, it's just, I mean, that's pretty incredible for late March, soon to be April.
Especially
at
overnight.
Night. Yeah. I'm watching from Athens. If the line hasn't formed, is that a good thing? Well, it'll have less momentum when it moves in, most likely, unless it just blows up along I-55.
Right.
One of the other things, that storm might be moving to the right a little bit there on the state line. We'll get back to that. This one right behind us, you could barely see in that little box. So the thing is, the later it comes in, the more unstable the air is going to be ahead of this, because those south winds are really starting to pick up.
And we've been in the warm sector now for so long.
So as we continue on here, all along this line, very similar to last week, there's going to be very strong wind gusts. And this is 3 o'clock in the morning, so it's going to be a very long night for many of us. So again, this moving in, this is a middle of the night storm. I know some people are trying to stay up, but if you got a weather radio, I just go to sleep, wait till it comes in. Let's see, they've got the considerable tab on that. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to that storm real quick. Actually, I'm just going to switch the router to.
And it is confirmed.
Yeah, I'm going to switch the router over to. You can drive that if you want.
Okay.
So we've got, again, that's that storm over there. And if you know someone who's on Highway 72 there between Memphis and, say, Florence, that's going to be north of them.
Yeah, I believe Storm Chaser Brett Adair
Brad Adair?
did confirm it on 72.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was, I think, 8:34-ish. Yeah,
Okay.
near Mount Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant.
And you can see
Yeah, maybe not doing much in Athens till 2:30 or so. Oh yeah, we got debris
debris ball.
debris detection from GWX. Yeah, so we get in here into this zone here. We kind of switch the velocity palette there.
Oh, I forgot we had that one behind us and not this one.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, yeah, we're not on camera right now. This is because I don't have. So this is going to pass north of Walnut, Mississippi. I do want to loop that. Last 30 minutes. Because I want to see if this is starting to turn to the right a little bit. You can get some of these storms that are right movers. But what I think we're seeing here is the outflow from this thunderstorm's boundary is triggering additional storms to the northwest, oddly enough. And that's how these boundaries interact. But that circulation doesn't look amazing, but I wouldn't be surprised if, here's the debris detection. Let's go back. Yeah, there's debris in that. I mean, I know you guys watch on the stream may not be able to see it, but because this is a really busy image, that's why we don't use it a whole lot. Let's head up. New tornado warning back here for this storm. Here's another one that's going to get close to Tunica. Let's loop that. So that one's moving almost over the same exact area.
Yeah.
What are they saying about that one? New tornado for Arkansas counties. Not much. All right. I'm going to switch back to the other stream. We'll go back through this talking about where this other line is going to end up. So you can see, again, these big numbers, this is the storm energy. And anytime you get, I mean, with this shear we've got, 500 will do it tonight. So
Yeah.
1,000, kind of the old school. I grew up with 1,000, but that's before more research was done. And you may see some trucks around town, radar trucks, things like that. And that's just, they're doing research out there. Again, we've got that high risk out just to our west. So the line gets a lot better organized as it moves across the state here. I think there's going to be more momentum built up. So as we continue on here, you can see Scottsboro around, that's 4 o'clock in the morning, down to southeast parts of Huntsville, Lacey's Spring, Coleman, Arab, Joppa, and then eventually Douglas. But you can see how these numbers just drop off as this moves southeast. And even down towards Birmingham, again, this is tomorrow morning. And depending on, I mean, as this moves farther east, though, into the morning hours, the upper level energy is going to be swinging away very, very quickly.
Right.
So here's that energy helicity index. And see how high that is? Again, that was at 5 o'clock. I think that's been over forecast by the HRRR.
I agree.
But you see how this has 8 o'clock. Let's compare this to the, man, this model is just too aggressive sometimes. So right now, let's see, where is that? Composite indices. Right now, this is like a 4, and over northwest Alabama, it's right at 2. So it's basically between 1 and 2. So it's not too far off, but it's what this does is it combines the wind shear with the energy. And you can see by 9 o'clock, we should have a pretty good idea whether this model is going to be right or not with that supercell, because it's been throwing that supercell out there between 9 and 10 o'clock. And, I mean, we're 15 minutes away from that, so something's going to have to blow up pretty quick, and then you kind of see the rest of that. Here's that tornado watch. Again, that's until 1 o'clock in the morning, and it will be extended most likely down the road. I want to take a look at the, where did I have that? Let me make sure I'm in this other show here. That's first weather.
What graphic are you looking
Well, I'm going to go to the 8. Here's another one. This really kind of illustrates what's going on. Look at that big powerhouse, upper level low there over Nebraska. And this has been a far-reaching outbreak all the way up into Chicago. They had tornado warnings in Chicago. They still might have tornado warnings in Chicago.
Yeah, it's still ongoing.
But here is this. This is again the low-level jet stream. And what I'm gonna actually just turn this on. I think it's gonna go back to earlier this morning, but that's fine. We'll catch up. And these are the winds that are about 4,000 to 5,000 feet above the ground. So notice by 9:20 or so, they start to increase. And here's where the supercell is going to try to originate. And these are called little jet streaks in the 800 at this level. And we had a real big problem with those last weekend, or last Friday night.
And the rain can kind of pull some of those
And the
winds.
rain pulls it down, and then that wind just dives down, and then it creates a real mess. And that whole stream of wind continues, and that's what led to all that wind over in the shoals in particular with that. Boy, it was a long track storm, and then it just basically the whole thing fell to the ground. It was like a mesocyclone on the ground. But you see here, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here. This is what has us concerned if we get something like that going on, is this is pretty much moving over Red Bay and then continuing northeast through Russellville. This is 1110. Again, this is all if it's a supercell. You know what I'd like to do is I'm going to go back and look at this as well for what's going on out west right now.
Look at Memphis and Jackson.
See how it's performed with that.
Yeah.
So it has it moving into basically Athens and then across Harvest, Monrovia. This is 11:50 to midnight. No, there is no tornado watch for Morgan County. This is all out west right now. The tornado watch is in effect for Franklin, Colbert, Lauderdale, and then up here into Giles County, I believe, and areas to the west. So notice, well, that just flared up there too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go back and look at that a little bit more in a sec. And it just kind of continues on here into the eastern part of the state. Little spikes here into Cobb County. Then up here northeast of Stevenson near Bridgeport. That's 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to redo this. I'm going to go back.
That's also when the instability spikes after midnight as well.
Correct. Okay. I want to go back here and look over and see how well this has performed so far. As we went past, what was it? Yeah, here's the tornadoes tracks here. Still not getting a good, yeah.
I think you have the thing saved in there.
Yeah, I need to go through here and put other stopping point. Well, I can just do this. So you can see the tornado tracks up here that were along that path. roughly I-40, and then you have that secondary push coming in. So right in there, you kind of see how that correlates with that. And these are actual confirmed reports here. So what's not really happening, in fact, we are going to kind of analyze this. This is a really good tool for some of you other meteorologists that may be out there watching. So, gotta do my set points. I'm just going to delete the camera view. Okay, so let's go to our 6 o'clock. Let's see how it did in Arkansas too. You kind of see as that low-level jet picked up. Again, these reports are going to be, well, I guess they are. They're tied to the time, so. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see what's going on with this. That's 640.
It's almost once you see the yellow and you see the browns, then we have that detection pull up.
Let me move this over just a little bit more. So as of now, the area we're concerned with should be doing something off to the southwest. So I'm going to switch to max 2.
In here?
Yeah. So what we're looking at should be coming out of this area here. Actually, it should be in here now, but it's not. There's nothing there.
Most are north.
Yeah. So I'm going to, I did want to go in here and see how that just blows up there. But again, if no storm develops, this doesn't happen. So keep that in mind. Whoops. Switch you guys back over here. So this is that area I was talking about. See how that moves across Athens, Harvest, Monrovia, Hazel Green, and that is about 11:30, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. But if that storm doesn't develop, then none of this happens. So I'm going to take a look at something else here, and that is right here. So let's see if that storm is showing up where it should show up on radar. I'm going to delete that camera view. So here we are. This is just too far ahead. I mean, it just doesn't look like this initial supercell round. It doesn't show promise that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So
it's almost like you said there's a cap that they're running into.
There may be a bit of a cap out here that's keeping all that from forming, because, I mean, none of this is formed.
And it has the perfect environment to take
So
off.
that's kind of our challenge right now, is that I'm going to go full screen here.
Okay.
That's our challenge right now, is that the models are not handling this well at all. The timing's been bad. So, I mean, sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes that means, well, maybe it's not going to be as bad.
And we talked about this past couple days is tricky setup. And I know a lot of people getting deja vu from last week because it's almost exactly the same timeline, but no severe weather setup is the same. And we try to stress that. And
you try to, do your best to time it out as you can, but it's not up to us, of course. I can really see those strong winds southeast of Memphis, though, on the radar. They really show up quite well. That second tornado warning storm coming out.
That's what you said, the outflow from
Yeah,
that storm.
I think it's
creating
and the other thing is there's nothing really lifting the atmosphere. There's no real boundary out there right now. So I'm going to go back to radar for you guys.
some big hail producers out in Arkansas.
Oh. Yeah, hail, I don't think the hail's going to be a huge issue for us. Here's a look at this reflectivity here. So we are starting to see more of a line form up here to the north. And that upper level energy is coming in from the west. And the other issue, there's a big radar hole out here too. So what I was talking about as far as this area here, you can see anytime you see that washboard look, it means there's really strong winds rippling through there. So it's possible we're going to get a new storm here east of Germantown, north of Collierville, because this storm is moving away from it, and the environment's still pretty crazy. There's so much wind shear out there. So we'll see what happens as this moves in, but there's just nothing firing up here, so that's good. So far, it's a good sign because the models were trying to produce these supercells by now.
Yeah.
But
I think we still need to watch
time,
once the line gets here for the embedded spin-up threat.
Yeah, that embedded spin-up, I mean, those are going to be those hard to warn for, on the ground for 3 or 4 minutes kind of thing. Yeah. What have we got going on in chat over here?
Not much. Not much.
Oh, is there somebody asked a question about the WIA systems situation. I wonder if there's something wrong with the warning messages. WIA is when your phone starts blaring, it's that WIA alert.
We saw also the Twitter automated.
Yeah, the automated Twitter, they're going to stop allowing that. And the Weather Service is like, that's how we send it. It's all automated. So Twitter's like, they're going to...
severe thunderstorm warnings.
They're either going to limit or just not allow it.
I think your count has to be verified or...
You've tweeted too many times.
Whatnot, yeah.
All right, Melissa, safe travels. Yeah, I'll zoom in there for you. Let's see here. This storm here is headed close to east of Grand Junction right now, and near Middleton, south of Hickory Valley. It's probably going to get close to Selmer. Take a look at the velocity in there. That's an old... It's still twisting pretty good, but most of that's in the middle of the storm. Well, no, there's just a big fat mesocyclone there. That's what that is. So let's take a look at the hail. The hail hasn't been overly impressive, but don't be surprised if that hail size starts increasing. So this one here, I'm going to go ahead and put a storm track. Okay, yeah, you said your relatives were in Henderson. Let's loop it. So that one's... I'm going to put this at about 50 miles per hour, so there's the middle of that. It looks like it's probably going to pass south of Henderson, a town called Finger. Selmer, Hornsby, Savannah, down the road. If this turns to the right, and sometimes these big supercells, they become what we call right movers.
And it has been wobbling a bit.
It has. And this is probably, it's right in the sweet spot, so to speak, of all the instability where everything's kind of overlapping there. Bulk effective shear is really high now over northern Mississippi. I mean, this northern Mississippi is just primed right now to blow up, but as Chelsea and I have been talking, maybe there's this lid on it, this cap.
Yeah, it almost, I mean, it looks like things are just riding along this northern boundary, at least for right now.
Yeah. So that's that storm. Let me delete that storm track. Get over to the other one over here. This is that one that's trying to form here near Collierville. So the Henderson area should probably be on the lookout for that storm. Because this storm here, if it does fire up, is headed that way. I'd put that around 10:04. So 10:04 there in Henderson. Again, this is an area that hasn't blown up yet. But I can't even keep up with comments. It's Friday night too, so I'm sure it's going to be entertaining.
Oh yeah.
All right, delete that one. Let's go back. Whoops. So let's zoom back out here. How about this? Well, we got this storm and this storm.
They all just, they have a very funny look, I would say, unconventional.
Unconventional. Let's storm track this guy here. This one's more likely to move and impact northwest Alabama. So again, this is going to be Iuka 1236 Cherokee. That's in far western Colbert County at 1249. So this is more in line with the graph model. And we should get new model data coming in pretty soon. In fact, we'll check that here in just a second. So here's the timing we have right now. Basically, the threat of severe weather starting, I think the window is now open in the shoals. All the way through probably 2 a.m. now in that red area, I would think.
Yeah.
So let me edit this. Now, 2 a.m. I'm going to do 12 a.m. for the metro, probably to 4 p.m., 4 a.m. that is. And this is going to be 2 a.m. to. Once this line gets moving, it'll pretty much move on through. It'll start moving. But there's the updated timeline there. I didn't do much change there to northeast Alabama. So we're going from between now and 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay, yeah, Weather Service is typing up saying, we know there's crews out in the previously hit areas in Tunica. Please start hyping another approaching possible tornado for them. So again, another storm headed towards Tunica.
Going over the same areas.
It's going over the very same area. And this is one of those nights where you get multiple storms tracking through. So this is why it's important for you to have multiple waves, because some of the cell phone towers, the cell service got completely knocked out in Arkansas earlier.
Bent in half.
Oh yeah, totally bent. I thought we were live on YouTube. Are we not live on YouTube right now? Let me check. No, I can't go on my YouTube page yet. I haven't set that up here.
Oh, you can't cross-post this to your...
I don't think I can. I'll have to look at that. Let's see. Live.
It says we're live.
Yeah, we are live on YouTube right now. Copy. Let me... paste. This way you can watch on your television. Comments are coming too fast. Pin comment. I'm going to pin that at the top. Okay. There's a pinned comment. So again, the beauty about YouTube is you can watch it on your television at home, just like a regular program. And we've also got it on our streaming apps. So if you have Roku, if you have Fire TV,
Apple TV.
Apple TV. I bet if I turn my phone on here, it's on our phone too. So again, it's on the weather and the news app. So let me double check. These are things we can do when we're not in continuous coverage. So what you'll do is you open the app, and I know in the news app you have to find live broadcast because it doesn't automatically pop up. This is forecast video. Okay, this says watch live. So pop that up. And you probably have to watch a commercial so we can pay our bills.
Is that the app?
That's the app. I'm getting a circle on it, so we'll see. Man, never thought I'd drink so much water during severe weather coverage. That and pollen season. Let's see here. Okay, yep, there we are. So that's, oh, you can't. Let me flip this here. Yeah, so that's what it looks like on the app right now. Hopefully my brother doesn't send me a text message while you're looking at that. All right, so again, multiple ways. These are all these ways that we talk about. And even if you've got an off-air antenna, say you're up in the northeast corner of the state, Jackson County, Marshall County, and up into Tennessee, you used to not be able to get our coverage because they didn't want to have our old owners didn't want the power. I don't know what exactly it was, but there was a bunch of money involved to increase the power. And Gray Media has been great. They increased the power. In fact, that's one of the first things they did was increase that power for our transmitter. So that's been great. So again, if you haven't rescanned your digital signal, I would do that. And who knows, you're probably going to find a whole bunch of other channels that weren't there that you see now. Can we live in a camper at a campground in Newmarket? Does it look like we need? I mean, if this line gets going the way we think it is, it's not going to be a real safe night to be in a camper.
No.
Because again, 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts will blow that over.
Again, a mobile home, we always say, a mobile home and a car is probably two of the worst places you could be during a severe weather event.
Let's get that radar back up here. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch you guys over to the radar, and I'm going to see if I can get some of the new model guidance that's going to, because I'm only interested in the first 12 hours of it.
Are you going to the GUI or Max 2?
I'm going, Max 2 is now live, so okay. I'm going to go over here. Let's see if I can't get this update. I'll let Chelsea talk you through those storms there, what's going on, moving into Tunica again.
Yeah, let me just get on this pointer real quick. So again, no tornado warned storms for our area, but we do have 2 tornado warned storms, one moving over the same area, just right over the Mississippi River. North Tunica included in this. And then again, the one that we've been watching moving just over Middleton. Again, this is going to be western, southern Middle Tennessee, south of Jackson. Likely going to be making a north-northeast track. I mean, I will say it kind of looks a bit more eastward at this point, so possibly clipping portions of Savannah into Clifton, Sardis. And I believe both of these have been confirmed at the moment.
Yeah, they've got that purple. Somebody was asking what's the purple polygon for.
Yeah.
And I believe that's when they have
confirmed
tornado.
I think Eric put those settings
And then I believe
in
it turns white when it's considerable damage. I believe that's.
Gotcha.
And then orange when it's a tornado emergency. Yeah, that storm's taken off, isn't it?
Yeah, Brad was just mentioning this storm near Oakland, moving into portions of Somerville. This essentially was formed on an outflow boundary from this parent storm here. Again, moving across 64 near Hornsby. I'm just looking at the chat here. I think they're about to extend the watch.
Okay.
That's what National Weather Service in Memphis is saying. They're talking about the HER.
Are they? Mm-hmm. What are they saying?
Quick look at HER soundings across northern Mississippi through 2 a.m. I just don't feel like the HER has been...
No, it hasn't.
Not with timing, at least.
Well, it looks like I've got the 0Z run here. Let me force the Cape to the 0Z run.
Do you want to show that?
Yeah, I will in just a second.
Oh, they
once
put
I
that,
get it.
a tornado warning on that.
Yep. Well, see, it's so far from the radar. We're talking about this storm
Oh,
over
yeah.
here. It's so far from the radar. It's really hard.
But
and that
that's-
was the other challenge with the Hartzell storm last week, is it was in between radar sites, and so much of what was going on in that storm was way at ground level almost.
But
Hard to
that's
see
the
it.
one that you tracked into northwest Alabama, near Cherokee. Arrival time, right around 12:49, close to 1 o'clock in the morning. And again, models are consistent in showing that that's when our instability blows up as well.
Okay. 0Z4. So what I'm having to do is the software will do the latest run. Oh, that's going to be, I wouldn't do that. That's where you want to use these here.
The squall.
The squall track.
How do I clear this? Okay, I got it.
Okay, I'm about ready to show you the new. Okay, here's the new data. Let me switch this over. Okay, what I did was I forced it to update. Because if it automatically does it, you have to wait until the model run is complete before it will load. So, all right, so even going back to 8 o'clock, it's still a little off with that one cell there, but it does catch that area in Tennessee, and that's going to continue to move towards Nashville, probably form even more. But it's got that, see, it has a supercell look, but then it falls apart as it moves into northwest Alabama. The instability doesn't look as widespread, at least initially.
Well, it looks like it gets absorbed by the line coming through.
And then here comes the line around midnight into the shoals. In fact, here's what I need to do with this. I need to move this in closer.
Jackson. Whew.
Okay, so I'm going to make this more about us here instead of Mississippi, so let's take this forward. So that initial little cell kind of falls apart, but then it does have a few other things kind of firing up directly ahead of it between 11 and midnight. So notice all that doesn't look that bad, but again, the worst is going to be this line probably coming in if we don't get any of those supercells. So, well-formed line moving east. Within this line, again, it's lined up right along that low-level jet stream, so we're going to get a lot of that wind coming down. And what appears to be maybe a comma head up here north of Lynchburg. And then as we continue on here, this is about 3 o'clock in the morning, so a very long night. And this is 3:50, 4 o'clock in the morning. The threat, we'll talk about when the threat's over in just a second. So I'm not going to even show the EHI anymore because I don't trust that tonight. I usually do, but I just don't trust it now. So about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, it's over with. So as far as when the threat's over, I would say probably around 1:30, 2 o'clock in Florence. Russellville probably over around 2:40. And then Athens probably around 3 a.m. in Athens and Harvest. And then Huntsville probably, I say 4, maybe.
Yeah. I think far northeast
And
Alabama.
Scottsboro probably over around 4:30.
And then closer to 5 for like Fort Payne.
Yeah. So that is that. Okay. Once again, another look here at the water vapor. Pretty wild. Had some big fires today in Kansas as well behind all this. Strong gusty winds. Haven't got any updates on that lately. But I'm going to switch back over. Well, let's take a look here. Oh, look at that one.
We have a tornado tag possible on that.
Yeah, this one up here, that's probably about ready to produce a tornado. I mean, just the look of it.
Yeah.
This one is up in Middle Tennessee, and what we're looking at is this little area back behind it. It's got this
notch.
classic V-notch, yeah, with it. And those from the military know V-notch stake, but this area here, this is where the atmosphere is really being forced to go up by all the physics within the storm.
Like you said, the shear, the washboard look when we were looking at that storm coming out of that one headed
yeah, this one's going to stay north of Jackson. But really, there's just nothing developing so far down here. Let's take a look at. I'm going to loop this and see what it does. Big tornado in Illinois. Let's head up to Illinois and see what's going on up there.
Southern Illinois, far tip.
Well, you've got it moving into Indiana now.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've got that in the radar display or not. Let's check and see.
Why does the polygon look like that?
Oh, that was a tornado emergency, this orange one.
I was about to say, it looks like it's chopped off.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Well, you're probably going from one weather service office to another. Sometimes that does that. Yeah, because if it was the same weather service office, it would cross the state line.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go in here. And I am going to go to the radar site. And I'll pick one of those. I'll put Nashville in here too. I think I've got St. Louis. I don't know if that'll pick up that one or not. And then I've got Lincoln, Illinois. So let me save that. And get out of there. Let's go back up here real quick. And that would be that storm right there. It's a big one. Just getting a message here. Our sister station up there is WFIR, our gray media station, so may want to watch some of their coverage online. Station in Rockford says there's a roof collapse at their theater in Belvedere, Illinois. There was also a concert. They are calling it mass casualty event. Oh my goodness.
I said that about Little Rock as well.
Yeah. So again, this is up in Belvedere, Illinois. People were in a theater hit by the tornado, and mass casualty event. Man, you hate to see that. And that is going to be in the northern part of the state, I believe.
Yeah, right by Rockford. There it is. Belvedere.
Belvedere.
Right here. Just west of Chicago. Way up there.
Yeah, I work with a guy, and he'd say it's Rackford.
Right there.
There's Belvedere right here. So let me go back. Let's see how far back I can go with this. Yeah, I don't have the radar data to go back there. See, some of these other radar sites, we don't keep the data that long. So that line is, again, this is from Chicago. Tornado warnings up here in North. This is, it's really early for them to see severe weather. We've been seeing severe weather since, December? This has been a very prolonged severe weather event.
We say we have a secondary. I feel like it's been one primary.
Long season.
Yeah.
For sure. So you get down here. Here's this other storm here that had the tornado emergency. Again, the radar's not going to look as defined here because we're looking at a radar that's fairly far away. But here's this squall line coming through, and this is going to race through Indiana. Northeast to Paducah, Kentucky. Severe weather here. So this is impacting several interstates up here. Just terrible weather there. So we come back down here to our neck of the woods. Switch over here.
National Weather Service in Huntsville just talked about the lull in our activity currently.
Mm-hmm. What do they got to say about it?
Essentially, the supercell threat that we're looking for. Not that it doesn't exist, but it's becoming less and less.
Less likely.
Yeah. But we're still going to wait once the low-level jet, which Brad shows you that graphic, once that ramps up and kicks in overnight, we likely are going to see that uptick in instability just right along and ahead of the cold front coming through. So this is going to be more where we see that organized line of storm threat, and we're going to be watching for widespread damaging winds and also the threat for embedded tornadoes. These would be our spin-up tornadoes, not the isolated supercellular type.
Mm-hmm. Well, this storm looks like it really went through you can see the rotation on the back side of it. Moving. Again, this one's actually farther north of Tunica. And this is a good at least 10 miles or so north of where that other storm tracked. Let's see. Oh, okay, I was wrong. It's 6 miles. But so again, if you had someone that's in Tunica, looks like that threat's passing to the north. But as we look out to the west, I'm sure there's more. But there's just a huge break in the showers and storms. This is the one. This storm here we'll have to watch because that's pretty much taking this track. And that's going to be probably, oh, yeah, Chelsea's got that up here. Let me stick that up there for you. That right there. So, but we're also noticing some new development there. So we're starting to see this fill in.
It's trying.
It sure is. And it's those mid-level, low-level jet kicking in as well. So again, this is going to be probably 1 o'clock in the morning before it moves into northwest Alabama.
Yeah, it had Cherokee right around 12:49.
Yeah. So
on the earlier.
Yeah, again, everybody should be prepared, have multiple ways to get those warnings as they come out. I'll check a few comments here. Somebody said they didn't get a weather alert.
For what?
I don't know. If you don't, if you didn't get your weather radar didn't go off or something, it's probably because you're not in Colbert, Lauderdale, or Franklin County.
Oh, for the watch?
Yeah. Sherry asked if they're going to extend the watch for Madison County. I'm sure they will. I think at some point, and what's likely going to happen, they may do it before the 10 o'clock news. So, and they know they know people are watching the news. We're big partners with the Weather Service, so they'll probably time it out to where the tornado watch comes out at right before broadcast time, 10 o'clock, because you don't want to have to deal with that weather alert radio going off in the middle of the night for just the watch, because you're already going to be in panic, stressed out mode as it is. So that's why they're going to do that. So I'll load up a show here.
Do you have everything done for the 10 radio?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I haven't done any radio. I may go do radio real quick, because I don't want to do radio at 4 o'clock in the morning on the way out.
Would these just be the special hits for the tornado watch, the changing weather? Do we need to do those?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'll do one of those too for mix.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's. Somebody says they have no sound on YouTube.
I can go and check real quick.
Okay. Yeah, just go check on that.
It's on our WAFF page, correct?
Yeah, WFF News and Weather. No sound on the phone. Well, let me investigate on my phone with this. Let's see what's going on here.
We'll tag team.
We will try to figure it. Whoop, just lost that.
Let's see. We are live.
It says click to unmute video.
I have sound.
You have sound on YouTube or app? It says click to unmute
YouTube.
YouTube. Okay, well the YouTube's working.
I have sound.
Let's see here. So there's our tornado watch till 1 o'clock in the morning. Let me make sure you guys are watching the same. There it is right there. There's our tornado watch. For some reason, I can't get it to pop up, but I had it up earlier. And that will likely be extended. I know the challenge with posting graphics like this is everybody east of here assumes, oh, well, it's all going to be west of us. This is all moving east with time. I can't get it to work on my phone for some reason. But
You said that's
that is, I think,
tornado emergency?
considerable. The orange is
Tornado
emergency.
emergency.
What did they put on that? Let me see what they put on that one. Observed. Yeah, the white is observed. The purple is considerable damage. Yeah, that's what that is. So they have a tornado warning, and it's the red polygon. And then when they observe a tornado, when it's confirmed, it turns white. And when they think there's considerable damage, they put the purple on it. And then when it's a tornado emergency, and all these ways to confuse us, everybody. So, but that's, I mean, it helps us, like if we're in coverage, say I'm in coverage by myself, and I can't go over and look at something.
right, the spotter
automatically
reports.
lets me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are those storms out west. I'm not going to stay there too long. But you've got these supercells out here to the west, still nothing developing farther south, but the line itself is beginning to form. So everything that is starting to move through, that trough of low pressure swinging through, just like a big wave on the ocean. It's rolling east, and ahead of it, it's lifting up the air. And that's really what we haven't had. We haven't had anything to lift the atmosphere over here.
And even the ones that were trying to form, they couldn't lift.
Yeah, they couldn't get past that lid on them. Boy, that little cell there, we'll probably get a warning with that one in about 20 minutes or less. The front itself will hit the shoals around 3 in the morning, but the threat of severe weather should drop right after or shortly after 2 o'clock in the morning. So here's pretty much the threat of severe weather is developing between now and 6 o'clock. So again, this is going to be ending in the shoals roughly 2:30, and then it'll all be on the state line with Georgia around 6 in the morning. Again, overnight severe weather, winds could exceed 75 miles per hour. Strong tornadoes still remain possible. Nothing's really changed there. Heavy rain, significant lightning, power outages expected with the bigger storms. And again, you can find us on Fire TV, Roku. If you got a smart TV, just do that. You can find us on those. Again, we have individual apps you look for in like the Fire Stick Amazon store. You just find the app there and download it. And this is really a cool way. My parents actually would watch me on, well, still do, on like the Roku.
My parents watch on Apple TV because they live in Birmingham, so can't get us.
Yeah,
But
yeah. This is how you get to watch out of market stuff. YouTube Live, we've got that going now. You're going to have to search for WAFF News and Weather. And then Facebook Live, you're watching that as well. And then on our News and Weather app. So there's so many ways. Boy, just think if we had this back in when I first started, way back in the 90s.
the possibilities are endless.
I know, and this is how, you can extend the coverage like we're doing now. We're covering areas over into Mississippi. We know we've got viewers in Tunica tonight, probably viewers up in Nashville, along the Gulf Coast. Had a few questions about Auburn. Auburn may see some stronger storms tomorrow morning. But as far as seeking shelter here, those green areas, that is where you want to be. You want to be away from the walls, the exterior walls, that is. And the safest place here is going to be that closet or get under the stairwell. If you live in an apartment, again, we talked about this the last time, get to know your neighbor that lives on the lowest floor. And that's going to be your safest place. I've seen a lot of these, a lot of video, and you can see like some of the second story is gone on some of these homes. So the wind increases with height. And I know it doesn't seem like that much, but you just get 15 feet off the ground, and it's a lot higher. I'm going to check SPC real quick, see what their outlook is for tomorrow. Let's see here. They kind of flare this back up over southern Georgia, kind of east of Auburn.
South Carolina.
Into South Carolina tomorrow morning, and then a secondary area, Pennsylvania up into New York. Let me check something here real quick. They put out a discussion. I guess I missed that earlier.
Metzelscale?
Yeah.
What time?
It was for that storm, that supercell, long track supercell storm.
Oh.
The long track supercell is north of the Mississippi-Tennessee state line, just north of Highway 72. This cell has a history of producing tornadoes with a recent report of a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado. This supercell should maintain intensity over the next couple of hours. So again, this is the one that is continuing over there in Tennessee. I'm going to stop. That's going to be the old graph model data. That's going to be the 18Z run. So let's get back to the radar here. I saw that discussion. I thought maybe they were going to be talking about our watch. So there's the storm. Again, this is kind of in that area of less coverage. This is, because your radars are basically Nashville, Columbus, Memphis,
High top.
and High Top, and this is
Dead zone.
dead zone. So it's really hard to get accurate tornado warnings or timely tornado warnings with that. I think given the history of this storm, let's see what we've got going on here. This one, I'm going to storm track this. This is going to be pretty much like the storm eventually that moved into Hartselle last week. The circulation remained even though the tornado threat kind of dropped. This looks like it's headed towards Hohenwald, Columbia, Lewisburg, Murfreesboro, up here into Tennessee. And it's probably going to cross the interstate. So if you got someone on I-65 there between Ardmore and Nashville, it's probably going to be moving in there around 11 o'clock. So moving across the interstate at 11 o'clock tonight. And it's still possible we're going to see some widespread damaging winds as this may spin down a little bit, so to speak. So back over here. This storm here is just trying to defeat. This is kind of, it's got this little tail on it, and then this is the wind coming in on the backside. So we'll see what happens. Not quite a rear flank downdraft, but this is the gust front coming out of that one. But you see, oh, here's something else to watch, Chelsea, on these storms. Mm-hmm. That tail. Mm-hmm. That tail's a boundary.
Yeah.
And it extends
back
here. So once this other storm
kind of feeds off
moves
of it.
in, that's what will trigger that rotation. Mm-hmm. So this happens with a lot of storms that are trying to produce a tornado, then they hit a boundary like this, and then they just take off. I've seen
Everything's interconnected.
Yes, very much so. It's a pretty nasty storm here. This is going to move towards Piperton. Now that's where they always have the speed trap there. When you go to Memphis, you want to be going 45 miles an hour through that area as you get north of Olive Branch.
Piperton?
I believe it's Piperton. There's been a lot of development over in this area too. They've got a big Amazon warehouse there. That area is growing about as fast as Limestone County is. So let's take a look at the velocity here.
The Buc-ee's?
Yeah, the Buc-ee's area. I mean, that whole area is blowing up. The rotation doesn't look that... See, this is a classic example of a storm that has some broad rotation. If it hits a boundary, it may take off. So let's loop that just a little bit. This is the last. Yeah, so far they don't have it. Oh, this was the one that was observed.
Yes, also confirmed.
But look how long that track is. Mm-hmm. I wonder, let me check something. Curious to see what the speed they have that on it.
They have 50 miles per hour.
Yeah. I think the forward speed's going to get faster over time. So here comes our line. Let me do just an extended storm track here. I'm just going to track the area where this new development's happening. Just kind of take that out. So storm arrival time, again, this long of a storm track, there's going to be a little bit of error to it, but I just want to give you guys a heads up there. Out west, we're talking Florence around 1226, Hamilton 1255. Let me delete that. Move this out just a little bit. Maybe I can get a few more.
Tell I-65 at least.
Yeah, I'll try to get to I-65. Well, it doesn't want me to. That's odd how it's not tied to the. Let me go out a little bit more. And over. It's close. It's close. All right. Still didn't get Huntsville in there. Fayetteville. Got you in there, though. We're talking 109. And that's if this line starts accelerating at 50 miles per hour, moving east. And we've got Florence again, 1225. Russellville, 1243. Corinth, 1120. Tupelo, 1151. I am going to do another track. Extend it a little bit farther east. There we go. We got just about all the bigger towns anyway. You're just going to have to approximate how far you live from some of these areas. And it popped up Albertville instead of Fort Payne. So Albertville, it's got around 213, give or take. I mean, if it slows down a bit or if it stalls a bit, you got to take that into account as well. Chattanooga, 341. Keep in mind they're Eastern time, so that's why it looks like, yeah, technically for us, 241. So Florence, 1217. Again, I've had Florence in here 2 or 3 times. It's been just a little different every track. Athens, 1 a.m. So Harvest, Monrovia, probably around 115, 130. Huntsville, 127. Again, Huntsville's hard to do a storm track for anymore because there's so many parts of Huntsville. Maybe I need to go in and do like a West Huntsville.
Huntsville Metro.
Yeah, let's make a note of that because I keep running into that. That's my little notebook out here.
Where's your sticky note?
I don't know.
There's nothing over here.
All right, but we'll make a note of that because, again, that can get very confusing, especially if we get in closer and it just says Huntsville. Let me check my messages here. Wind picking up. Yeah, you're going to get a lot of wind out of here. We've got that wind advisory that's in effect.
I don't know what you did with your sticky
Well,
notes.
I had a little notebook
Here?
out here. Oh, there it is. Just like me trying to find my keys or something at home. Or looking in the fridge, where's the ketchup? And you're staring right at it. Okay. I'll probably lose this note too. All right. So, again, we haven't seen any signs of the supercell developing. We've got picture-in-picture here now. So
Wow.
that's good. That's really a good sign. Nothing, and the reason I say it's good so far is because they were supposed to originate like an hour ago.
Yeah.
And track in. And that hasn't happened yet. We're starting to see the line kind of come together and move east-northeast. So we're still looking at a powerful line of storms coming in.
Yeah, I think it's important to still note that we are going to still watch a tornado threat.
Yeah.
Maybe not supercellular, but
True.
spin-up tornadoes embedded within that line.
And you can always get a supercell that gets embedded within the line as well. So let's take a look at radar again out here to the west. Well, this cell's kind of died down. That's good.
It keeps trying. I've been watching it.
But still, this is in a no man's land. So if anything, I'd like to see the government pay a little bit more money, spend more money.
Arkansas, I feel like, has the worst holes.
Yeah, and get more radars out there. I mean, as we had a story today on, what was it, one of our newscasts. It was at noon. I was watching the noon, and we may have had it. I mean, I get so focused on weather, I can't pay attention to all the other stories.
Right.
But I was watching at noon today, and there is some research done. It was posted by the American Meteorological Society talking about how we're going to see more supercells.
Oh, yeah.
And it's related to climate change. So,
you know, our typical tornado alley out in the Great Plains, we're seeing that shift to the east and what's known as the southeast, Dixie Alley.
Yeah.
And the Dixie Alley is now becoming the tornado alley, whereas, you know, a lot of this activity is decreasing over the Great Plains, which was historically known for.
And I think that climate change and the warming may be contributing to this low-level jet that's been getting a little crazy too. So, because the more heat you put in the atmosphere, the more
It has to get rid of it,
energized. Yeah, it's got to get rid of it. Good point. Yeah.
and it does that by storms.
Let's see. Let's just take a look at this pattern here around the radar site. You can see the south wind at the surface really picking up here. Updating to a new tornado warning in Crockett County. So that's that storm moving towards Gunnison, about ready to cross the Mississippi River. And I guess the problem down the road is if we continue to see this much space between these storms, there's that isolated threat that may continue. But it's just odd to see just such a, well, it's filling in now. So.
Took some time though.
It has taken a lot of time. And we're at 9:45. What we're going to do is we'll shut the stream off here a little bit before our 10 o'clock newscast, and then we'll bring the stream back, kind of reset everything, and be prepared for the long night ahead, overnight, that coverage.
We're still watching for that spike,
Yeah.
likely after midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. But again, we'll have our newscast on. So we'll stream here for another, I'd say 5 minutes. So 10 minutes before newscast, gonna change batteries out. And then I'll do the radio after the newscast.
Okay. Do you want to try to figure out how to stream to your YouTube or just keep it on
I'll just,
the station page for now?
Yeah, I don't think I think it's that's an Element thing. I'm not gonna mess with that.
Okay.
Me and Element don't get along. All right, we've got, hey, that storm we were talking about, they tornado warned for it. So we've got, it doesn't look as impressive because this other storm's coming in behind it. See, it's just,
Alamo.
yeah. Oh, but the next one behind it, I mean, they're both fairly intense. And this is where I had more concern. If you had watched any of my posts, there was always been more concern up here in the Middle Tennessee, because that's where the really strong winds in the mid-levels are. We're kind of at the tail end of it.
Some of the better forcing.
So let's see, let's track this towards Nashville. Put that into motion. So the leading edge of this cluster of storms, just out of reach. So that's probably going to be around midnight. Let me move this around a little bit here. And you can see the classic problem here when you go from different radars. So it's got 1146 Nashville, Hendersonville 1153, Gallatin around 1202. And before that, we've got Camden, Waverly. Waverly, remember Waverly from the flooding. Mm-hmm. What was it, last summer or the summer before?
Yeah.
But here's a classic example of, you know, when we talk about it's out of that out of the radar zone. This radar here isn't getting, I think that's out of Nashville, doesn't get a very good look at this Jackson storm, but the closer radar does. You see how it just completely doesn't see anything out here.
Are you using the Memphis?
And then there's Memphis, yeah. These storms are starting to track more northeast than east-northeast. So as we go back here, you see these boundaries down here? Mm-hmm. We're going to see this storm here now crossing I-55 on the south side of Memphis.
It created a new one just to the north.
Yep, sure did. There's Nolan making a cameo. All right, let's move this out here. All right, we're getting ready for our newscast. We will be back with another stream coming up here after the newscast. Appreciate you guys tuning in again. We'll start this all back up again shortly after the newscast. I can't say it's directly right after, especially since nothing's going on right now that's imminent, but we will be back on. We'll have another update on that. But again, thanks for tuning in. We're going to get ready for our 10 o'clock broadcast here. And YouTube is most likely still streaming, so.
Did you stop this live stream?
I did stop this one, yeah.
You want me to go back to Javon?